Hello, good morning. Glad you could join us for business. Now, PricewaterhouseCoopers Ghana Limited, PwC, has renewed calls by some businesses for government to improve the tax collection system through digital means. The international audit firm believes the use of online and other digital platforms is the best way of enhancing revenue mobilization. Director of Tax Services at the PwC, Aisha Bedre, has been speaking with Joy Business ahead of the upcoming IntelliTax seminar, a capacity building event to educate SMEs on innovative ways of filing tax returns.
The Ghana Revenue Authority for more than 2 years has missed its domestic revenue target despite measures put in place by government to broaden the tax net. Many small businesses have little or no knowledge about some of the tax policies being introduced, hence the struggle to honor their tax obligations. As part of efforts to intensify public education, PwC and Joy Business are collaborating to enlighten small and medium enterprises on innovative ways to file their taxes at the end of the year. Aisha Bedre is Director of Tax Services at the PwC Ghana.
Called IntelliTax, paying taxes intelligently, and it's a way to educate small and medium-sized businesses and the business community at large about the taxes that affect them on a practical basis, not theoretical, but very practical, and how they can implement these to the best of their ability and how they can also improve their knowledge when it comes to paying taxes. And we hope that this will help drive up compliance rates, get people to start talking about these topical issues and not shy away from tax like it's something to be afraid of. So that's the intent behind it.
She believes the use of digital and online platforms would encourage more businesses to pay their taxes.
One of the easiest ways to educate people now is through the online presence or the internet. So I think a lot should be done around that, and also making it easy for people to pay taxes. So once again, things like filing online, which is common in other African countries like Rwanda and South Africa, it would be really good if we had that in Ghana as well. I think the lack of understanding or the confusion doesn't encourage people to voluntarily pay taxes or find themselves within the tax net. So it definitely made things a little bit difficult in terms of tax collection and reaching everybody, or widening the tax net as it's called. But also for the SMEs, like I said, they struggle with actually having the requisite knowledge, being able to pay for the requisite services to understand these things. So I think if it's simplified and education is more widespread through the internet and social media, it might make it easier for compliance rates to go up.
The event, scheduled for February 12, is expected to create a platform for both business and the revenue collection agencies to dialogue on better ways of improving revenue generation.
So February 12 is the date for the Joy Business Knowledge Series on taxes powered by PricewaterhouseCoopers. You can join us at the Mövenpick Ambassador Hotel for what promises to be a very interesting session. The time is 8:30 a.m. and the hashtag is IntelliTax. Now, President of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, Dr. Joseph Obeng, has called on the central bank to take immediate steps to end the speculative activities that are causing the depreciation of the cedi against major trading currencies. As of February 1, the cedi had already depreciated by 2.6% against the US dollar, compared with the 0.1% appreciation in the same period last year. Charles Aite has more.
The local currency's performance is reaching new lows as its years-to-date depreciation puts it among the worst-performing currencies in the emerging markets. President of GUTA, Dr. Joseph Obeng, attributes this trend to speculations.
We have to find a way to monitor the activities of these foreigners. It's capital flight as usual. And I've also said that even along the West African coast, we trade these currencies as if they are commodities.
Meanwhile, Dr. Joseph Obeng has called for 30% retention of foreign investment in Ghana.
How are we making conscious efforts to invest maybe 30% of the country as a whole, having about 30% investment as a policy in these areas so that we can have a retention?
Bank of Ghana's interbank exchange as at February 1 shows the cedi had depreciated by 2.6% against the US dollar compared to 0.1% appreciation in the same period last year. Last year, the cedi depreciated by 8.4% against the dollar in what the central bank attributed to strengthening of the US dollar against currencies in emerging and other frontier markets. For Joy Business, Charles Aite reporting.
Elsewhere, U.S. President Donald Trump has vowed to end what he describes as China's theft of American jobs. Given his second State of the Union address, Mr. Trump told the U.S. Congress a trade deal with China would require structural changes to end unfair trade practices. There is more in this report.
The speech comes ahead of last-minute talks between the two countries aimed at reaching a deal on trade. New tariffs could kick in on the 1st of March when a 90-day trade war truce ends. The U.S. and China are locked in a damaging trade spat that has seen both sides levy tariffs on billions of dollars worth of each other's goods. U.S. negotiators are expected to arrive in Beijing over the weekend ahead of negotiations next week. In a speech, Mr. Trump signaled that the U.S. would take a tough stance. Last year, the U.S. levied tariffs of between 10% and 25% on $250 billion worth of Chinese goods. Beijing hit back with tariffs on $110 billion of U.S. goods. The U.S. tariffs are aimed at providing protection to U.S. firms from Chinese competitors who can often produce goods more cheaply. However, the tariffs are often passed on in whole or in part to consumers who pay higher prices as a result.
All right, that's it for business. Up next is sports. We look ahead to the El Clasico next after this break.